All right, so today we're diving deep into a poem by Kabir. Sunta Gyani.
Now,
Gyani.
this is a good one.
It is, right.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like like a spiritual treasure map. It gives us these hints about like the soul's journey and the role of the guru, how important the guru is,
Mm-hmm.
and ultimately like the pursuit of enlightenment. Like, what is that? What are we trying to find?
Yeah.
And one of the first things that just like jumped out at me right away is Kabir talks about the soul originating from this Nad Bindu, this cosmic sound source.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like the soul comes to earth like thirsty for something, like divine.
Right?
So our mission, if you will,
Uh-huh.
is to unpack all these like layers of meaning, see what we can learn from Kabir.
Definitely.
So right off the bat, first few lines, I'm hit with this image of the guru, and the guru is hearing these soft, melodious sounds of cosmic direction.
I know, it's beautiful imagery, right? Just draws you right in.
Yeah.
And that idea of Nad Bindu, I think, is just like really important here. Nad, as you probably know, means sound, and Bindu means like point, like a dot.
Okay.
So it's almost suggesting that creation, like the very beginning, it all started with sound, with like vibration.
Ooh.
And like, you think about it, everything around us at its core is, vibrating energy. It's pretty wild.
So Kabir is saying that even our souls, before we were like, here on earth,
Yeah.
we were part of this like original sound, like this vibration.
I think that's what he's getting at, yeah. And I think it's interesting, like, to think about how that connects to our lives now. Like, do we ever feel that pull, that like yearning for something more?
Oh, yeah.
Almost like we're trying to get back to that like original source, that harmony.
Totally.
And I think what Kabir is saying is that pull is the echo of the Nad Bindu, like within us.
It's deep.
Yeah.
And, going on from that, there's this part where Kabir talks about us hoarding water.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He compares us to people who are like clinging to things that are supposed to like flow freely.
Right.
It's almost like we're missing the point of being here.
Yeah, I think he's saying we're missing the point big time. It's a really beautiful metaphor, though. Like, think about it. Water, it sustains life, right?
Sure.
But it has to flow. If you try to hoard it, like, it just stagnates.
It becomes like gross.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of the same with our souls. They need to flow, they need to connect, they need to experience. But we get so caught up in like material stuff, desires, attachments, we forget to nurture that inner connection, you
Yes.
know?
It's true. It's so easy to get caught up in all that. And then there's this line really resonated with me. He says, "The whole world says repeatedly, this is how it is and must be, while Brahma himself is without words." It's like he's saying, like, we get so stuck in the noise of the world that we like miss the silent truth, the deeper reality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's about tuning into like a different frequency. The world is full of all this noise, right? Like opinions, beliefs, assumptions.
Right.
But truth, I think, often lies beyond language, beyond all these constructs. I think Kabir is challenging us to question all that, those assumptions.
Yeah.
To be still, be quiet, and listen to that inner voice.
Yeah. Be present.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to like get real with us, to hit us with these tough truths. Like when he says we're drinking poison instead of nectar, it's pretty powerful.
It is.
Like he's basically saying that chasing all these like fleeting pleasures, all that external stuff, isn't actually going to satisfy that deeper longing that we have.
I think it's about like instant gratification versus true fulfillment.
Right.
Like that nectar that he's talking about that represents the joy that you get from spiritual connection, from aligning with your true nature. But the poison, that represents all the things that we think will make us happy, but actually just leave us empty.
Yeah, like empty calories,
Yeah. Huh.
And then, he brings up this really interesting image of the celestial cow of knowledge.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
And the different ways that people approach its milk, the wisdom it offers. Some people, they go for that like creamy layer,
Yeah.
the deeper meaning.
Yeah.
And others, they're just fine with like the buttermilk,
Yeah.
that more superficial stuff. It's a great analogy for how we engage with learning.
Oh, absolutely. It speaks to like our commitment, how intentional we are, when we're learning or on this journey of self-discovery.
Yeah.
Are we just skimming the surface, or are we willing to really dive deep and extract that essence?
Right, yeah.
The stuff that can nourish and transform us.
And then the poem takes this really interesting turn. It's like it leads us on this journey into this transcendent state. Kabir talks about water appearing without any lake and a celestial sphere lighting up.
I know, it's beyond our senses.
Yeah.
It feels like he's describing a state of consciousness where all those limitations that we usually experience, they just kind of fall away. And there's just this pure awareness, this unity.
Yeah.
Where all those dualities that we're always dealing with, light and dark, good and bad, self and other, it just dissolves.
Wow.
It's that's the realm of unity. That's where we really experience that interconnectedness with everything.
That's powerful. And then he mentions this tricuti, this space between the eyebrows. And from this tricuti, there are sounds like kohum, sohum emanating. What's going on there?
So the tricuti, that's a really important energy point in a lot of yogic traditions.
Okay.
It's often associated with intuition and higher awareness.
Interesting.
And those sounds you mentioned, kohum and sohum, they have deep meaning. Kohum meaning who am I? And soham meaning I am that. And those sounds represent the soul's ultimate realization.
What is that?
That we are not separate from the divine. We're actually part of that universal consciousness.
Oh, wow.
It's a huge shift in identity, going from that limited self to the boundless self.
Yeah. And it sounds like, Kabir is really taking us on this journey of awakening. First, we realize, okay, wait, we're part of something much bigger than ourselves. We originate from this nad bindu, this primordial sound.
Yeah.
But then we see how easily we can get caught up in the world chasing the wrong things, missing that true nectar, that fulfillment.
Right, exactly.
And then finally, he shows us this possibility of transcending all those limitations, of realizing our unity with the divine.
I think that's a beautiful summary. And he ends with a really powerful call to action, urging us to understand the agam.
Gagam.
Yeah, the unmanifest eternal reality and become one with the non-aging and eternal one.
Yeah.
He's reminding us that our true nature is beyond all the things we experience here, time and form.
Right.
And through spiritual practice, we can tap into that timeless essence.
Man, this poem really takes us on a journey.
It does.
It's reminding us that, we have this incredible potential for connection, for understanding, for experiencing a reality far beyond our everyday perceptions.
Absolutely.
After this deep dive with Kabir, I'm left wondering, if creation comes from sound, what does the sound of your life represent? What kind of symphony are you creating with your thoughts, your actions, your intentions?
It's a good question.
It really is. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive. I hope you'll continue to ponder this question, explore your own symphony, and perhaps even share it with the world. Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep creating the beautiful music of your life.
Well said.
Thanks.
I enjoyed this.
Me too.